Barack Obama was absolutely right. So what was he right about, and what does that mean for you? First, what was Obama right about? Malcolm Turnbull, the former Prime Minister of Australia, just released a memoir. And there's an excerpt from it on the UK Guardian that was released on Sunday, April 19th. Barack Obama, in January of 2016, when they met, said this. They met in the White House. "Don't worry, Malcolm. The American people will never elect a lunatic to sit in this office." So Barack Obama had enigmatically assured me in the Oval Office in January 2016 when I asked him about the presidential race. Well, it was now November, and the unthinkable had happened. And lunatic or not, Trump had won. It wasn't only Americans who were stunned. Nobody had expected a Trump victory, and truthfully, few were prepared for it. So if you believe Malcolm here, which I'm going to because it's going to help me illustrate my point, Barack Obama was absolutely correct. The American people would never elect a lunatic to sit in the White House, and they didn't. You might be saying, but Donald Trump is in the White House. And to that, I'd say, well, the Electoral College, not the American people, put him in office. Donald Trump did not win the popular vote. He lost by almost 3 million votes. To some people, this might not matter. Oh, they're all from California or from wherever. Those people are American citizens, and it should matter. My request to the media would be that whenever a president wins by the Electoral College, that we should refer to him as, the electoral president of the United States, because there's a difference. The electoral wins that we've seen twice in the last 20 years have both been for Republicans. The interesting thing is that some people argue against, or they say that the reason that the Electoral College is so important is to prevent a tyranny of the majority. Well, what we've seen with the last 2 times that a president has got into office by winning the Electoral College, we're seeing a tyranny of the minority instead. Now, the second reason that Donald Trump got into the White House, and I know how contentious this is, so it's Russia. And this week, we just got the results. This is from the New York Times. For years, President Trump has derided the assessment by American intelligence officials that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election to assist his candidacy, dismissing it without evidence as the work of a deep state out to undermine his victory. But on Tuesday, a long-awaited Senate review led by members of Mr. Trump's own party effectively undercut those allegations. A 3-year review by the Republican-led Senate Intelligence Committee unanimously found that the intelligence community assessment, pinning blame on Russia and outlining its goals to undercut American democracy, was fundamentally sound and untainted by politics. Whew, okay, now we got the Russia thing out of the way. But really, we don't, because this is where it kind of comes back, is to you, what does it matter to you? It matters to you coming in November of 2020. And the third and final reason, for the reason that Donald Trump is in the White House, I would add, and this does have something to do with the American people, is that it's estimated that 100 million eligible voters in the United States chose not to vote. Which is just devastating. My fellow Americans, please vote. It's incredible, and it's embarrassing. I think as Americans, we should be embarrassed by our lack of participation. And I've tried to bring it back to you, right? Your future. What does it mean for you? Okay, but November, it being the most important election this country's ever had because of this critical moment in time. And on that Electoral College win for Trump, Michigan was won by Trump by 0.2%. He squeaked that win in by 10,704 votes. The Electoral College between those 3 states, it was less than 80,000 votes. 80,000 votes. We are in big trouble right now. as a country. It doesn't mean that we can't get out of it, but we really, really need to make sure that we have safe elections in November, that we are on the ball, that we participate, that we register to vote by mail if that's an option for us. Talk with our friends about, reconsidering their stance on not voting, because your vote really does matter. Think of Michigan. If 100,000 more people voted in Michigan, I don't think Donald Trump would have won by that squeaker of 10,000 votes. It's just not possible. Let's tackle the most common reason I hear for people not voting is they say, my vote doesn't matter. Your vote actually does matter in a big way, and I'm going to show you how. Let's look at just really briefly a history of voting in the United States. And while this is being discussed, what does it mean to be a U.S. citizen to you? Does it mean that you are entitled to all of the rights, but that you get those rights without participating in the system that provides those rights? Think about all of the people in history, our American history, who have fought for the right to vote, and how much they valued it and how little some of us value it now. So in 1776, only people who own land can vote. Here we go, 1789, George Washington elected president. Only 6% of the population can vote. In 1790, citizen equals white. 1848, activists for ending slavery and women's rights joined together. If you're Black, if you're a woman, this history should matter, and it does. You have the right to vote, and you also have the option, I guess, not to, because of the fight that our ancestors fought for us to have this right. And then let's see, 1848, citizenship granted, but voting denied. In 1856, vote expanded to all white men. Movements to unite and divide. 1866. 1926, state violence used to prevent people from exercising the right to vote. I mean, basically, the United States has this whole history of suppressing the vote and the voice of the people. We are still fighting for voting rights. This still matters. And when you're thinking of not casting your vote, just again, go back to your ancestors and think of them and think about how lucky you are at this moment in time. So finally, the long awaited. What does it mean for you? This is our country. That means your country. That means my country. It's our country. And by not voting, you're not helping to shape the future direction of where you want your country to go. I understand that you vote for somebody, and it doesn't mean that like instantaneously all of your dreams and wishes come true. It's a longer fight than that. If you look back at Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, they fought their entire life for the right to vote, to get women the rights to vote. They died. Both of them died before that actually happened. Imagine working your whole life towards something that you never saw come to life. I believe your vote counts. Martin Luther King believed that your vote counts. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton believed that your vote counts. Now we just need to get you to believe that your vote counts. Please believe that it does. Register to vote. Vote. Subscribe to this channel, and thank you.